It's time for the fuel tank. Now the fuel tank is a lot of work. This is going to be a long episode. So, and there's plenty of stuff that I got to chop from this episode. So maybe there'll be a couple of little short Facebook extra or Let's Talk Shop extra on YouTube, where we show you a couple of things that we had to chop from this regular episode. Be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, let's get to it. So go brew yourself a big cup of joe, pop open a couple of cold ones, let's talk shop. So this is an aardvark inspection camera. It has its own Wi-Fi network, and you watch it on your iPad or your iPhone or your Samsung Galaxy, or your laptop, whatever. And of course you can record to it, no big deal. The beauty is it's high def.
Hello, buddy. What are you doing? Okay, bye-bye.
That would be Gary, horsing around. Gotta love him. This is the first time I've ever looked inside a fuel tank, so it's kind of what I expected to find. Some metal, a little bit of rust, and to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's see what this looks like before and after. So I just carried on, like this was no big deal. Well, it turns out that's a lot of rust. Yeah, and we're going to see real soon here who wins this match between the rust and the cleaner and the sealer. Look at all that crap. Look at all that crap. Picked up a rubber stopper for the fuel tank inlet. So the right size for my tank is 1 15/16 by 1 5/8. And at the top where the fuel sender goes, another rubber stopper. It's in good. So the stopper for the fuel sending unit, the 1/15 by 1 5/8 inch stopper would have worked, but I didn't like how far into the hole it went. I wasn't able to grip it with a wrench afterwards, depending on how hard I plugged it in. So the stopper for the fuel sender unit will be 2 1/16 by 1 3/4. Fits in there good. Plenty sticking out to grip to get it out later if I pound it in too hard. That's what she said. Just doing like a pre-clean right now, you know, hosing out, because there's a lot of stuff rolling around in there. You can hear it. So just by filling it with water and letting that stuff pour out, that'd be good. Here's all the crap we got out on the pre-clean. So yeah, just a bunch of floating around crap. So once I put the cleaner degreaser in, that'll really get a lot of the sludge out of there. And then the metal prep will dissolve rust. So away goes the rust on that stage. POR15 has a kit for fuel tank sealing. Comes with 2 quarts of degreaser, a quart of metal prep, and a quart of the sealer. Now I happen to have a lot of the degreaser and metal prep in stock ready for immediate use, so all I got was the quart can. I do want to make sure my mixtures are accurate, and since I don't have a quart bottle, I'm going to use up the last of 1 jug of old Marine Clean. I used to call it Marine Clean. It is now called Cleaner Degreaser. Want a full quart? There we go. I can mix this down to 5 to 1. I'm going to go 1.5 quarts. The reason I'm doing this is, you know, if I mix it 1 to 1, I'll have 2 quarts in the tank. 2 quarts in a 15-gallon tank is like having nothing in a 15-gallon tank. So my options are, I'm going to go 1.5 quarts, And then I'm going to dilute it. So there's 1:1. Just like being empty. I could dilute it up to 5:1. Kind of want maximum strength though. So I'm gonna leave it at 1:1. Put my little plugs in. Okay, and now I'm gonna let it soak. Okay, rotations with the cleaner degreaser supposed to be 2 hours apart. Thank God it's not windy today. Blow that right down. Okay, 2 hours. So with the filler tube, you know, the filler neck there, kind of had to put it in a funny position in order to keep this puppy balanced without falling. I want to stand here, it can balance on its own. Again, I'm glad it's not windy today. There's 2 hours. So while we're bottoms up, I just want to show how this 76 tank has a drain plug. Okay, it's been 2 hours. Close enough, 2 hours. 2 horas. And something that I did off camera was dumping the contents into a oil pan, and then I clumped it up with the clumpy stuff. You guys like cats? I like cats. Even if you don't like cats, get yourself some cat litter. Do not pour POR15 cleaner degreaser down the drain. Do not pour it in the flower bed. Don't even pour it in an empty dirt field. It's just not good for the soil. Do not pour POR15's metal prep down the drain either. Use the clumping cat litter to make a solid waste. Dispose of the solid appropriately according to your local chemical disposal rules. So one mistake I made right off the bat was that I did not use hot water when making the dilution. You're supposed to use hot water when diluting POR15's degreaser cleaner. It's not as dark. Now it's only light brown. So the rust is still pretty present and prominent. I'm going to need to get some chain and drop that into the tank and then agitate it to loosen up some of this rust. Lots of sludge and stuff coming out. The difference between straight chain link and twisted link chain, you're going to have a lower profile with the twisted link. I think the lower profile is going to be better to get through some of these baffles that I got to go through. Alright, it's time to go back on the chain gang here. It was cold. I'm not cold anymore. I'm gonna edit this up pretty good to make it look like this was pretty easy. But you know, there's plenty of baffles inside the tank. Chain keeps getting wrapped around them. So it's pretty baffling. There it is. Wrapped around a baffle right there. Come on, baby. That was not easy. Look at all that. It's a chocolate river. It's looking pretty clean now. We're At least the water is clear. After using the chain and then rinsing it a couple of times, I did a round 2 with the cleaner degreaser. Reason is, the first time around I had used cold water, and POR15 recommends hot water in order to activate its most potent cleaning and degreasing agents. I did a round 2 of cleaner degreaser and then rinsed it really well and used the clumping stuff for the potent cleaner degreaser, and then further rinses that were highly diluted went down the driveway. So it's been cleaned, drained, rinsed, and dried. Lots of debris, or probably just like tiny rust particles. So let's get that out. Wow. Plenty of rust debris. You know, and there's going to be a bunch that I can't get out. So, kind of bummed about that. So it's time to go with metal prep in the gas tank. Metal prep's going to dissolve rust and etch the surface so that whether it's slightly rusted or just plain metal, it'll be etched just enough to accept a nice coat of the POR15 fuel tank sealer. Now the POR15 fuel tank sealer kit comes with 1 quart of metal prep. I've got a gallon, so I'm going to go ahead and use what they would normally give you. So I got a little measuring cup and we're going to 1 quart. My 2 little stoppers. And we're going to go 20 minutes on each side. Notice the bench is dry. Okay, so to give it 20 minutes on each side, I'm just going to start right there. That's where it would be in the car. And clock ticks. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. Time for some sloshing around. Now notice the bench is wet. We'll leave it at a new position. I did notice this, but I just figured I had like spilled. Took a long time to figure out what was really going on here. Okay, we'll give that 20. Alright, it's been 20. Alright, 20 minutes, more sloshing. 20 minutes is up. Alright, 20 minutes is up, let's shake it up. So there's 5, 6, 7 different stations, if you want to call it that. 20 minutes a pop, it's 140 minutes. I'm running out of daylight here, so I'm glad I'm almost near the end. Okay, 20 minutes. It's the last sloshing around of the metal prep. Alright, it's time. Start draining this puppy. Metal prep's coming down. So rinsing the tank after having metal prep will require warm water, hot water. They want you to use very warm water. So that's what we'll do. I've got my garden hose plugged into the hot water heater. Same thing I did for the cleaner degreaser. So we'll give this a nice bath a couple of times. Well, I don't see a whole lot of rust coming out like it did when we had the cleaner degreaser going on. So, I'm thinking it's pretty clean inside. Hope so. Even if it isn't, even if there's still some surface rust that the metal prep didn't dissolve, it etches it and designs it for their product to stick to it. It's gonna be okay. That's all, folks. Parts of it look very clean. There are scattered spots of rust, surface rust. Good news is it's etched. It's ready to receive POR15 product. This has to be bone dry prior to applying POR15 fuel tank sealer. That should do it. We're going to leave that on pretty much all night. Use the temperature gauge here and see where we're starting. So the tank's at 64.5 degrees right now. 65. Climbing. It's going to be hot. It's going to be a warm one. Heat gun's been going about 6 hours, so let's take a look and see what we got for... Okay, so right at the filler neck, we're looking at 127, 28, 100, woo! Looking at 130 degrees at the filler neck, you know, and over by where things are going down, you know, over by where the gun is, it's 150 degrees. So it's nice and toasty in there, but I think I'm going to let it go all night just to make sure. This thing has to be bone dry before I put the sealer in. And it's been all night. This thing should be done and ready. And so the outside of the tank here, 150 degrees, just like last night. 150 degrees. Too hot to touch, and you can't just leave your hand right there. The filler neck, 121, 122. It's good. Just gonna let that cool. And the hum of distant lawnmowers on a Sunday morning. POR15, POR20's high heat sealer, and the POR15 fuel tank sealer all want to be applied at about 72 degrees or higher for the best results. So it's been sitting in the sun for a couple of minutes. Let's see what we've got here. So that's about 70.5 degrees. The tank itself, the shaded part, 72.5, 73. This side's going to be hotter because it's sitting in the sun. 93. We're good. So, got a paper funnel. Twitter feed coming through. Mason Day's posted a new picture. I gotta check it out. So it was yellow when I started. Now that it's getting good and mixed, it's turning silver. I can feel the thickness at the bottom of the can. Definitely want to stir that up. Get it to mix well with the rest of the contents here. Definitely wear gloves. POR15 will not come off your skin. You pretty much have to wait for your skin to recycle for that to come off your hands, elbows or arms or whatever you got it on. Just wear gloves. Gloves are cheap. Instructions say to pour the whole can in. That's what I'm gonna do. stop right there. Okay. Next step is to put my little plugs on. Get to shake it up again. So this, fortunately, you know, it's thick stuff, so I'm gonna kind of go slow. Let it flow to every corner of the tank, including the baffles in the middle. That'll be the hard part. So I'm glad I don't have to do a whole lot of shaking today. The arms are pretty tired from yesterday. Fuel tank warrior. Fuel tank tuba. Fuel tank dancing. Okay.
May I?
You may. Treat her gently.
As a dropper, she explodes.
Yeah, Gary sees it here. So I guess what happened, Gary, is it looked like it sprung a leak down here in the seam.
Kind of seemed that way.
Thank God I'm using sealer. And we do have a lengthy discussion about whether it's a seam or a pinhole. Do we spot weld it? Do we fuel tank repair it? Will the POR15 seal it? We've got us a pinhole here. This is not from when I poured it in, because the spout was on the other side. I really need this POR15 to patch that. So the pinhole is right there. I think I'm gonna let it sit over that for a period of time. Okay, so that makes it so it's not the seam like I thought.
Right.
It's that spot. So with the pinhole discovery, I'm going to be pretty bummed if I've got to use the tank out of the green car. This was a lot of work. So here's the culprit right here.
Great. That's not even on a. It's on the curve.
See it oozing out of there like it's a volcano. That's disturbing. So after years of sitting without anything in it, the rust took over. And I believe it was when I used the metal prep to dissolve rust and etch the surface. That's when that started, because when I used cleaner degreaser, there was nothing there. No leaks. Alright, it's time to drain. Plug off. Now, POR15 is thick, so it's going to take a while to drain. The instructions recommend 30 minutes to drain. So I'm going to set this up and just let it drip. So now I need to give this 96 hours to dry. POR15 recommends a ventilation. So I'll probably use a hair dryer, not on heat, just for the airflow. Very sad that the fuel tank from the 76 has a pinhole that it's leaking. So I'm gonna take the green car's fuel tank out and see if it's in any better shape. It was tight.
Oh.
Ain't nothing coming out. Can't tell you how grateful I am that I have a spare car sitting here. Okay, there's that. Next. Wildlife that I need to know about. So the back side of the tank does look a little bit different. And These hose clamps are not original. And I am the owner of this car. I can say that I never removed the seats. This wasn't me. I don't know. Previous owner must have been back here doing something. Drain plug on the 74 was a 19 millimeter. It's different. 76 was a 14. And out they come. I'll have to scope this and see how it looks. It's got a different bend here. This isn't straight. The seam is crooked. Crooked seam. So another difference is the 74 had the cardboard between the rear seat and the fuel cell. The 76 had a big metal piece. So the 74 looks like the tank has been changed before in the car. It wasn't while I owned it. It's got a dent in it. This is the part that sits by the seat, so why would that be dented? I don't know. So we don't know if it really is a 74. I don't know. Weird. Another difference is the curvature in this seam at the top. The seams on my true 76 are straight all the way across, top and bottom. This one has a curve, top and bottom. Unknown why. This is not the original tank that came with my green car, the 74. I've had the car since 1981, and I never messed with the fuel tank. So somebody between 74 when it was made and 81 when I picked it up, this was already plugged when I pulled the back seat out, and I never messed with that. There's even a dent on the front side. This is the side that faces the trunk. This here is, you know, that's been compromised. And then of course the back side that faces the seat has that big dent. Bummed about that. I had no idea I had a funky fuel tank in my car. I'm bummed my original fuel tank sprung a leak during the cleaning process, sealing process. That's ironic. You know, and you'd think, no big deal, I got a spare sitting in the backyard, let's go pull the spare. There's a dent. Don't like it. You know, you guys decide to restore a car, and I hope you like roller coasters. There's plenty of times where there's highs, you know, you find some hard to find part. You wrestle some part into the car that was really difficult and you're like, yeah, I got it. Or maybe you're going to the platers and you're picking up your plating stuff. That's a rush, man. That's like bling for your car. It's like jewelry. That's a high. Then there's lows though, like you spend hours sealing a fuel tank to find out it has a leak. You know, maybe your car comes back from the body shop and you found out they fucked up a few things. Plenty of lows. And they make stop lead for fuel tanks. I guess that's what I gotta do. Get some of the Permatex or whatever brand fuel tank repair. I guess it works pretty good, but I just wanted a badass fuel tank, you know, that's all. I am going to put a call out to find a new fuel tank. You know, there'll be 3 sitting here before you know it. So, we've got to start looking. eBay, Mazda repair forums, anywhere. Okay, pissing and moaning over. Let's go to the store, get some fuel tank stop leak, and get to work. There's the spot. Got the stuff. So I'm pretty much going to clean it off. Put the mixture of epoxy type stuff on, some kind of a resin. And that should do it. Do not use JB Weld for fuel tank repair. It doesn't work. Tried it once on a 65 El Camino I had. Just doesn't work. So I guess I'm going to cut a little piece off of this here. And just kind of knead it together, which activates the two different chemicals that are going to combine and make a powerful thing. Kind of looks like a large Tootsie Roll. Do not eat. Cut off required amount. Mix by kneading epoxy stick to a uniform color. Okay. Just gonna mix this up to a uniform color. It's got that silvery stuff on the inside. The instructions do say to wear gloves. Don't be all finding out what it does to your skin. Just wear gloves, man. Squeezing the shit out of it. That silver's coming through now. That dark brown's turning light brown. Apply to the repair surface within 30 minutes of mixing, forcing into any cracks or holes to be filled. Okay. It says to press it into any holes. I mean, this is a tiny little pinhole. This is way too thick to press into any of those holes. The hell holes are they talking about? Now, eventually I'm going to be putting POR15 on the outside of a fuel tank. I don't know if it'll be this one. If I can't source a better tank, it'll be this one. Did the POR15 fuel tank sealer system fail? Probably not. With a little bit of hindsight, I can see now this tank was too far gone to start with. A little disappointed in that, but, you know, shit happens. That's where I'm going to end this episode, which brings me to the question of the day. What would you do for a fuel tank under these circumstances? 4 options I can think of. Number 1, use the original tank that came with the 76 RX3 that I'm restoring. It's got the leak repair, but I've already spent like 12 hours on it and need like another 3 to 4 hours worth of cleaning, prepping, and painting the exterior. So I'm going to be into it for about 15 hours at least. Number 2, use the dented tank from the green car. Gonna end up spending 3 to 4 hours on dent removal on the rear and the front. There's a dent on both sides. Then I gotta spend the same 15 to 20 hours on cleaning, prepping, sealing the inside, and cleaning, prepping, and painting the outside. So that's a whole new 15 to 20 hour project. Option number 3, get another gas tank. I'm actually putting feelers out to see what I can find on getting another gas tank, but that's going to involve, again, cleaning, prepping, and sealing the inside. Who knows what kind of condition this thing will be in. Could be easy. Could be worse than the 2 options I've got sitting in front of me now. Option number 4, Pack Performance in New South Wales, Australia. They make brand new fuel cells. Bolts right up to an RX3. The neat thing about those is they come with a high pressure fuel pump inside the tank, so I would eliminate the use of my fuel pump underneath the left rear quarter panel. They're really proud of their work though, like $2,000 proud. plus freight. So what would you do? Please leave me your input in the comments section down below. I'm going to go underneath the middle baffle. Baffle? Going to go underneath the middle baffle. No. Underneath the middle baffle. So POR15 who's texting me. Get the fuck off. Really? Bring the Christmas DVDs. Really? Just kidding. I have to say just kidding because she's going to hear me edit this shit down, so. Love you, doll.
Headphones.
Yeah, headphones. Got a little section I have to edit with these headphones on. Click our icon to subscribe and don't miss out on our upcoming videos. Peace out, brother.